Nancy Pelosi is one of the people out there talking a really good game, but she seems to be in kind of a state of denial. Surprise, surprise. In fact, I'm watching all these clips and I'm like, Nancy, hey, you're scarily reminding me a little bit of Joe here. You really are, lady. You really are. Anyway, here's all these people out there saying he should step down. Just to give you some perspective, think about what the New York Times editorial board just put out. Quote, to serve his country, Biden must step down. Yeah, that's kind of a biggie. This is the New York Times editorial board. I mean, when have they ever not backed a Democrat candidate for the presidency? And then there's all these articles that had appeared some 12 hours earlier, immediately following the debate. You had Tom Friedman saying, President Biden is my friend. He must bow out of the race. You had Frank Bruni saying, Biden cannot go on like this. Patrick Healy, I'm hearing high anxiety from Democrats over Biden's debate performance. And Nicholas Kristof, I mean, when you lose this team, right? President Biden, it's time to drop out. When you lose these guys, you got yourself a real problem. When you lose the New York Times editorial board. Oh, by the way, that wasn't all he lost. He lost the New Yorker and he lost Time Magazine. Check this one out. Whew, panic. It's panic indeed. So everybody's saying the same stuff. Tons of people are like, it's never going to happen. And Nancy Pelosi comes back with this.
What do you make of Democrats calling for Biden to step down?
I don't know who's doing that. I don't know who's doing that.
Okay. So you clearly don't read the newspapers. You clearly don't watch television. Or you're just a flat out liar, or maybe you're struggling with dementia yourself. Take your pick, ladies and gentlemen. Take your pick. Nancy Pelosi, flat out lying. She doesn't know who's doing this. Of course she knows who's doing this. The entire party's doing it. Well, except for those that have an allegiance to Joe. So new polls out. Basically, 72% of the country thinks he's unfit for the presidency of the United States of America. He lost a lot of ground after that debate. But again, there's a little dementia, there's a little amnesia. There's something going on with Nancy because this is her response. Listen.
Welcome back to State of the Union. A new CBS YouGov poll out this morning that was taken after the debate finds that 72% of voters now say they do not think President Biden has the mental or cognitive health to serve as president. Here with me now is one of the top officials in the Democratic Party, a close ally of President Biden, former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Thank you so much for being here. What is your reaction to that poll? 72% of voters say they don't think that the president is fit mentally or cognitively to be president.
Well, what do they think about the other guy? Do they think that he has the integrity to be president after that performance? Let us not make a judgment about a presidency on one debate. Let's talk about what it means to people in their lives. And that's why you're not seeing much change in the polls on this. The difference between Joe Biden and the former president is so clear. If you are a woman and you care about your reproductive freedom and your health, and women do, you see a complete difference between enforce a woman's right to choose on the part of Joe Biden and a ban on abortion with the other guy. If you care about job creation in America, 15 million more jobs created by Joe Biden, the worst job performance record since Herbert Hoover for the other guy. If you're concerned about saving the planet, you're a young person, you're caring about the planet and its future, Joe Biden, the first person in the Congress to pass a resolution to study climate change in the 80s, even before I was in Congress. A guy who goes to the fossil fuel industry and says, give me $1 billion so I can reverse what happened in the IRA to save the planet. The list goes on and on, whether you're talking about guns and the rest. And 16 Nobel laureates said when it comes to inflation, if the other guy gets elected, inflation will soar because of his fiscal policies. So it's not about performance in terms of a debate. It's about performance in a presidency. And I want you to know that the fact is that the reaction to the lies of Donald Trump is something that maybe TV isn't focusing on, but people are. And to have a debate where you have to spend half your time negating what he said because he has knows nothing about the truth. On one side of the screen, you have integrity. The other side, you have dishonesty.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so that's going to be their talking point. Good versus evil kind of thing, right? Over and over and over again, except that she's lying through her teeth. I mean, it's atrocious. And I tell you this as somebody who has covered the economy on the front lines of every market struggle for the last 20 some odd years, as well as all the upside as well. I say this as somebody who understands markets. Nancy Pelosi is just lying through her teeth. I mean, all the economic numbers that he threw out there, Biden the other night, as well as the ones that she's throwing out there, they're all wrong, okay? Joe Biden created inflation. Why? Because he signed off and had Chuck Schumer spend trillions of dollars. He encouraged the Federal Reserve. Now, there's supposed to be Chinese wall between the two of them, but let's be very clear. His Treasury Secretary used to be the head of the Federal Reserve, and the Fed was encouraged to just keep on printing money, recklessly so. And then on top of it, he was giving out third stimulus checks and offering free tuition for everybody. I mean, my gosh, it was reckless money printing. And therefore, we struggled, and we're still struggling. And people know it, and people feel it, and they know that their groceries cost 30% more. They know that they're not making 30% more. As for jobs, gosh, you know, he talks about, I got a 15% unemployment rate. No, you didn't, Joe. You got a 6.4% unemployment rate. When you came to office, 6.4% unemployment, and 1.4% inflation, like no inflation, none at all. And then you allowed it to soar, and it has just kept growing from there on. So Nancy Pelosi is saying all this stupid stuff. By the way, if you agree it's stupid and you're worried about inflation and you're worried about the economy, make sure you consider diversification in your portfolio. I want to quickly tell you about our friends over at American Heart for Gold, where you can get a special deal up to $15,000 worth of free silver, actually. Silver is kind of an interesting proxy for gold, but I do believe in diversification. This is one of the tools you can use, gold. And likewise, you can also look at silver. Call them at 1-844-495-1115 or text Trish, my name, to 655-32-65532, again, for up to $15,000 in free silver. Take a look at this. It's part of the diversification process that you need to be looking at. TrishLovesGold.com is the URL you can go to. I've included the link in the show notes. Trish Loves Gold. You can't forget it, right? Because I do. You know what I love? I love making sure that you are on firm ground, that you have a portfolio that's going to work for you. And it's why I created 3 model portfolios alongside Rob Horton, brilliant stock picker, 20 some odd years on Wall Street, running billions of dollars. And I want to encourage you to go take a look at this, because we have a very special program running right now where you can get in for just $1 a month, a couple of months, and I think it goes up to $9.95. That's a 76 report. Again, you can go to 76research.com. Drew, if you could just put it on the screen for everybody, they can take a peek. 76research.com. Take a really quick look at that. Go over to that site. Type in code word dollar. DOLLAR. Type that in so that you can get the 76 report for just $1 a month. This is the information you need. And I really encourage you to look at those model portfolios. It's like an extra $23, and you get 10 to 15 stocks in each of the portfolios. Find the one that's best tailored for you, whether that's growth, whether that's income building, or whether that's inflation protection. Again, my company that I'm proud to bring you, 76research.com. Go to 76report.com for the special offer with code word dollar. But Nancy Pelosi really kind of seems like she's not playing with a full deck. I mean, am I right or am I right? Did you hear this one? I mean, this is crazy. She really does, to me, sound almost as bad as Joe Biden, because she thinks that somehow it wasn't that big a deal, that you can just move on from this very, very bad night. I mean, listen, I do think that people ought to be asking about her imminent resignation as a result of some of the rhetoric we've heard as she tries to spin this thing quite poorly in Joe Biden fashion.
Fair about it. I don't think Tom Friedman thinks that that Donald Trump should be president of the United States. And, while he may be saying we're enablers, we see Joe Biden up close. We know how attuned he is to the issues, how informed he is. And I debate with him about legislation, and not debate, but discuss it with him. He's right there. So in any case, it was a bad night. Let's not sugarcoat that. It was a bad night. It was a great presidency. And that's what the American people have to choose. A night where somebody's going to just misrepresent the facts completely, and then you're on your guard. The other person has to negate that. Or, again, it was a bad night. Let's move on from that. It's all an opportunity. Our members have been very thoughtful. They're very concerned about a president who would lie the way they do, and then the Republicans just go embrace those misrepresentations.
Let me ask you about those members.
All right, so Nancy is struggling. Clearly, she's got her own issues, but they're trying to say, oh, it was a bad night, let's move on. And look, she's got to say it to a certain extent, right? Think about it, guys. What do you say? I mean, he's still the president of the United States. You can't just say in unison, like the press is doing, he's out, he's out, he's out.